The Chartographers.
Hello, everybody! You're listening to The Chartographers. It is a music-loving podcast for music-loving people where we take every single album by a particular artist and we rank it all from worst to first. It's a thing that we've been doing for 5 goddamn years. And let me tell you a little story about that. In year 2, we did a fun little episode talking about a newer band called Led Zeppelin. And it has, of course, become one of our most popular, iconic, legendary episodes as well. And the guest that we had on that episode, he said, hey, you know what I would also like to do? I would like to do this particular band, and it seemed like the kind of thing where the day would never come. But as it turns out, if you listen to the extended cut of that song, it did come, because that's what's happening right now. That's right, we decided to go all in this season. We're going with the thrash metal kings themselves. That's right, we are talking about the one, the only, the group whose biggest claim to fame is that time that drummers Lars Ulrich starred in the 2014 TV movie Hemingway and Gellhorn in the role of Jonas Ivins. That's right, we're talking about Metallica! Megadeth, they're really nasty. So Metallica, it is formed by basically 2 guys initially. It, of course, is guitarist and singer James Hetfield, as well as drummer Lars Ulrich. As they went ahead and were in Los Angeles, they found each other, and eventually they brought on guitarist Kirk Hammett, and eventually bassist Cliff Burton. And what the thing is, they had a great, great love of British metal as it was coming out there. They weren't really in the throes of the 80s hair metal scene with all of its spandex and synths and lights and whatnot. So what they ultimately did is that they combined essentially that classic British metal sound along with the tempos that you would most likely associate with punk music. And they weren't the inventors of, but definitely were the people that popularized thrash music as is well known. Coming with a breakneck fury with their early album, their first album that came out all the way in, what was it, 1983? My God. And then from there, they went ahead and ascended to become the group that brought, not only popularized thrash metal, but also brought it into the mainstream in a way no other band had done before. And they are still recording to this very day. And guys, we are going to go and rank all of it! I am so very excited for this one. This has been a wild and interesting and fascinating week for us, but in order to do that, we need to get people to go ahead and rank it together, the Q Prime management, if you will. And who's the people responsible for that? Let's talk about it. First off, there's me. I'm Evan Sadi. I talk a lot. And also, if you've been listening to this podcast at all, then you know the person sitting next to me, the James Hetfield to my Lars Ulrich. That's right, the one, the only, Taran O'Reilly!
Hello!
How are you doing?
I'm doing great!
We've been doing various songs in James Hetfield's voice throughout the week. It's been fantastic. We'll probably hear more
From
of
the
it.
top! Make it drop! Sorry.
Alright, so we're going into it. Yeah, what was your familiarity with Metallica going into this?
Minimal. Yeah. I grew up in an anti-Metallica household, so I really had, obviously I know who the fuck they are, but really the only song I would say I was familiar with coming into this week was Enter Sandman. Mm-hmm. I really didn't know any of the rest of them. Even a couple that I heard, and there were definitely a few vocal takes where I was like, oh yes, this is stirring something deep in the recesses of my memory. I must have heard this on the radio. But this is probably one of the blindest I've been going into a week. I really had no basis or idea of what I was getting myself
right
into.
And for the record, we spent 2 whole weeks doing into this. We've listened to the discographies several times over. We've watched all the documentaries.
We had to spend 2 weeks because this is the longest discography we have ever done. It is 14 hours of music, 140 songs, which if you do the math there, that means the average song is 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
Which on its own was a challenge to try and get the idea of okay, usually I if it's we're doing a pop artist, I can look at the title and I can just go, oh yeah, of course, it's verse, chorus.
And this is the title of the song, right?
No, this I had to memorize. Okay, and then there's this movement,
and then this
now
section.
It switches to this section,
and now
and then
here's where
there's
Kirk
the guitar
comes
solo.
in. Yeah,
and so it's been fascinating and wonderful, and I'm going to shut up for now.
And the thing is that we could debate this ourselves, but honestly, we couldn't do it without the person that recommended it. That's right, he is the person that was on our Led Zeppelin episode, iconic that it is, legend that he is as well. He is a singer, he is a songwriter, he is a guitarist, and you can find his music available right now on Spotify. That's right, the one, the only, Phil O'Reilly is in studio. Phil!
Thank you so much,
How
you guys.
are you doing?
Oh, I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be back in the studio. There's nobody I would rather do this thing with than the two of you. It's gonna be so good. I was like, you guys need to get some metal bands in here, and what better one to do than this
Cannibal Corpse, right?
Yeah, exactly. And since we can't do that one yet, I really wanted to talk about Hammer Smashed Face, but we'll wait on that and we'll get in.
Yeah.
By the way, I did not expect you to talk about Lars's TV movie role as the thing you were going to talk about first.
I mean, honestly,
I said before we started, I've been thinking about all of the bits that Evan does and what he's going to say. That was not what I thought it was going to be.
What would you have gone with?
I don't know. Something like made famous for being starting off as Lou Reed's backing band. I don't know, something like that.
Well, and honestly, for the record, in terms of my experience, I didn't know Metallica was a band until I saw Hemingway and Gellhorn. It is such a moving, powerful piece of work, but that actor, I was like, how does he do it? Then he's also in Get Him in the Greek? What they're the band they're mentioning isn't fictional, it's crazy. Anyway.
I mean, if we want to talk, the half-hour mini-sode will be all their filmography.
Yeah.
That'll be all of their acting credits.
We watched a decent...
Yeah. Listen, the Happy Hour mini-sode, you mean Alcoholica? Yeah, we'll do it. But listen,
excited.
We have a lot of albums to get through, but most importantly, we need to talk about what we are and what we are not ranking. So, because for the most part, their discography is pretty clean. There's just a couple little pigments in the fire there that are a little bit wild. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. First off, there is their 1983 debut, Kill 'Em All, with its full thrash glory. There is their much more mature 1984 effort, Ride the Lightning. There is essentially the sequel to it in its own way, Master of Puppets from 1986. They're a little bit more prog here and a little bit more baseless, and Justice for All from 1988. There is their big mainstream breakthrough in terms of Metallica, also known as the Black Album from 1991. There was the time they decided to become alternative rock and southern rock icons in Load. They then decided to do it again in Reload in 1997. They did, of course, the thrashy, angry, and brutal Saint Anger from 2003. There's also kind of their return to thrash form, Death Magnetic from 2008. And then there is their most recent double disc, but it really didn't need to be, album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct in 2016. So that's good. That is 10 albums right there. But then we get into the two little bit of weird things that we're talking about. First off, 1998, after Load and Reload, they decided to put out a covers record called Garage Inc. It was somewhat inspired by the fact that they had so many covers that they'd done on B-sides and EPs and other things like that throughout the years. They compiled all of it into one disc. But then they decided to kind of actually do another disc of new covers on top of it. It's one of those things where cover records typically we don't do. We have in certain times and certain exceptions.
We go back and forth depending.
Exactly. And this one, I mean, it's one of the things we certainly listen to it all week because, God, it's 27 effing tracks. But
it's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. But it is one of those things where none of the songs repeat, and it also points to kind of what makes Metallica a song and how different it is and what their inspirations are. So as a document, it's actually kind of fascinating for that reason.
Yeah, it was very, because I'm obviously familiar with some of the people they covered on here, but it was very interesting to like go listen to some of the originals and hear all of these influences that fed into what they ended up becoming.
Totally agree. I had never heard of like Budgie or Diamond Head or
Blitzkrieg, Queen, never heard of that.
Yeah, Queen, Anti-Neverly, never heard of them before, but
well, that leaves the question, Phil, would you rank this as part of the discography?
Well, I mean, we could. You guys, like you said, you don't typically do cover albums, but my argument for ranking it would be that I feel like some of these covers are pretty definitive, so much so that I think, for example, Diamond Head almost thanked Metallica for covering their songs because it kind of revitalized their career. So we could argue that like, they took them and made them their own, but I'm also cool with picking it apart in the half-hour mini-sode.
Taran, where do you stand on this?
I mean, at this point, I say let's just rank it and talk about it because we did the work.
Yeah.
We bothered
And also,
to listen to
We deserve it.
Right.
We earned it.
We have so many things to talk about in the happy hour minisode. It is not even funny. So
we have enough fodder for that. I think.
Exactly.
We sure do.
Then that leads to the other question. Then in 2011, out of fucking nowhere, they decided to do another double disc album. This time with Lou Reed, called Lulu. Now, for all intents and purposes, it is basically a Lou Reed album. Because it's basically based off an opera work he was doing, and it's him doing pretty much all the vocals with the occasional James assist. But also, Metallica did the music for it as well. They were more than just the backing band for Lou Reed. They had
they helped write it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where there are some who wouldn't maybe count it out on there. Some think of it more as a Lou Reed album, but I definitely know that the only reason it debuted where it did on the charts is because Metallica is on the fucking name of it. It is a project that they did and will have to answer for in The Hague. But the thing is, the question is whether or not we rank it. Because I forced Phil to listen to it for the first time,
yes.
I am all about ranking it because I want to get into the nitty-gritty on this one here. So that's just me.
I think we could get into the nitty-gritty at some point. I feel like it's kind of an easy choice where to put it, I guess I'll say.
Number one,
way.
right. Exactly.
Right, I'd say let's just get that out of the way then.
Well, okay, in that case, if we're going to headlock it in, then guys, here we go. We got it. Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, Justice for All, Metallica, Load, Reload, Garbage Inc., Saint Anger, Death Magnetic, Lulu, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, 12 albums, 12 slots. Phil, normally I would ask for you what your nomination is for the number 12 slot, but I have a feeling, a premonition, if you will, that I'm just going to go ahead and say, let's on the count of three all say it together, what we would rank it at number 12. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1... Master of Puppets. Okay.
I knew I was going to say, don't you say the Black Album, because I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah, it's Lulu.
It's Lulu.
It's
Okay,
Lulu.
The thing we need to do about Lulu is that, honestly, when I hear it, I want to cut my tits off, much like the first opening line of the album, because the thing is that Metallica...
Pumping blood,
Yeah.
pumping blood.
Sperm this like a girl.
It is, the thing is, I understand there's a certain aesthetic at a certain point that Lou Reed is trying to do with it here, but here's the thing. When you have Metallica's songs and structures, and even bare bones, and we could talk about whatever artistic aims they have with the songs, Lou Reed's flat, unpanned, regular voice just deadens any impact that almost any of the songs have.
Yeah.
What to say nothing of the content of his lyrics, it's flat.
And part of the problem is he didn't, because it's really spoken word.
Sure.
And so he doesn't try very hard to stick to any sort of rhythm a lot of the time. Sometimes there is rhythm to his vocal, but sometimes it's a little more freeform. and that just doesn't work over the fucking math rock that Metallica are doing.
Yeah.
I would say I enjoyed Junior Dad.
The 19-minute closer that turns into an ambient string section halfway through?
Because it was ambient and I needed to relax after listening to this.
Yeah. It's a bad album, guys. I know there might be some people that might try and defend it at some point.
I don't think those people exist.
Well, here's the thing. I was thinking about it because I'm desperately trying to find like some positive. I didn't really, but I tried really hard, and I think Metallica themselves have even tried to separate themselves. If you go on their Wikipedia page, it's put under collaboration albums, not their studio work.
Yeah.
So I think they recognize it. In 2011, they did a 30th anniversary concerts, which they brought out tons of special guests, including Lou Reed. And when he came out, if you watch video, there's booing from the crowd. Like, please, because they know it's going to happen.
That's awesome.
And Lars goes, shut the hell up or we're going to play the whole album. and they do a couple single, I mean, the one single was The View, and I think they do like,
I am the table!
Yeah, right. And I think they do a couple other things. It's like, I could totally see the Metallica fan, the old school guy, he's got the thrash vest, the cut off jeans still, but he's old and fat, and he puts in the disc of Lulu, and he's like ready to hear. It's like, Lou Reed, I love Velvet Underground, man, awesome. And then it's like that's what he hears. I I get why people hate it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I hate it after, notorious asshole Lou Reed, of course, was mean to me on an interview that I did in 2007. But, that's its own thing. I think maybe I inspired this album. I might take the blame for it. Maybe I put it
Are
in
you
the bad
Mistress
mood.
Dread?
I might be.
Are you a...
Spermless like a girl?
I was gonna say, are you a prostitute with no arms or legs?
Well, here's the thing about me being spermless like a girl. After you suck an old man's cock, anything can happen. Let me just tell you.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's a reference to Garbage Inc. for those
And
there.
my mom has now turned off the podcast.
I could deal with the Satan. I couldn't deal with the sex. But here's the thing. I will say the only other thing.
My mom sounds like
The only thing. The only thing I can say to everyone's mom, and my mom sounds like that. Cheat on Me, which is this nice little kind of keyboard downtrodden thing, almost works in the same way that Junior Dad does, just because it is a clear break of format and texture from the rest of the album. So I can appreciate that, but by and large, we have notoriously spent time shitting on albums because guess what? It's fun. But you know what? I don't think we need to say much more. I am fine with burying this dog.
Yeah, let's move on.
At number 12. Great. Okay, well, in that case, Phil, normally we would go ahead and move in rotation, but guess what? I'm still going to put the knife in you right now.
Sounds
so
good.
I'm going to go ahead and say, at this point, it's going to get a little bit fun. Phil, what would you nominate for number 11 on our ranking?
Yes. Well, interesting. It's funny because the other thing I was thinking of while I was listening this week is Metallica, more so than a lot of other artists I've listened to, have such massive, impressive highs and such abysmal lows in their in their music, and and also in some of their choices too. Production seems to be something that always screws them in one way or another. I'm gonna go with probably the Metallica fans listening to this would probably say Saint Anger, but I'm open to other choices as well, but I would say Saint Anger.
Okay, so before we jump into that, kind of set up the context for Saint Anger and then say why you would nominate it there.
Sure. So the context for Saint Anger is it's
documented well in the 2004 documentary Some Kind of Monster.
Exactly. So this is kind of like, every band has their like breakup album or their like turmoil album, and sometimes it comes out as Rumors. And sometimes it comes out as Saint Anger. And they also, I think Metallica has, throughout the years, tried to remain relevant in what's going on in the hard rock and metal world. And in the early 2000s, it was new metal and new metal. No guitar solos, really. Tune it as low as you can and just kind of your way through it. So they were kind of trying to stay relevant that way. I think they had just lost Jason Newsted as their bassist because of a myriad of reasons.
Yes,
but
he needed to focus on Echo Brain.
Exactly, which we all know how that turned out. But anyways, so as far as Saint Anger is concerned, I like some of the lyrical content in some of it. Particularly the song Saint Anger, I actually really do like. Mm-hmm. It suffers from what people have called over the last, almost 20 years, the pots and pans drumming of Lars Ulrich. I think their producer, Bob Rock, was trying to go for more of a stripped down kind of thing, and it didn't really work, in my opinion.
I understand why you would say that, and I understand the reaction that people have had to it. Because there are some people that were excited, especially when they heard Saint Anger, when they heard Some Kind of Monster, the song. It was just like, man, here they are kind of getting back to the nitty-gritty a little bit, but it's still different. It's a reset in the sense that after Load and Reload, and after they went kind of alternative, and some people thought they lost the bite that they previously had, is one of the things where having Saint Anger is this non-stop fury of a record, and it is furious and angry and thrashing about, very much so.
Very true.
It's one of the things where it kind of is a reset in that way. Is it a fully successful experiment? I would say no. But here's the thing. I'm not going to necessarily be like the guy that's being like the misunderstood masterpiece, but I'm going to push back on you on this one a little bit. Just for the reason of, I think that it is lyrically the most confessional record that James
I would
Hetfield
agree.
has ever done. And that's one of the things where the songs have a certain impact on here, but most of the time he's talking about society as a large, the fallacy of religion, the pointlessness of war. He's talking about grander themes in a lot of his work. Sometimes he gets a little bit personal, and honestly, there are some moments on Load and Reload where he really he talks about his mom a lot. Like, there's some, surprising moments
And
on
what
here.
she said.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, it's very true. But also he talks about kind of his alcohol addiction a little bit. He talks about a couple other things.
Yeah.
I don't think he does it articulately very well in Load and Reload, but at least he's open to it.
Sure.
I think in Saint Anger, he's really kind of grappling with things. It's kind of a man holding on to his grip of sanity, and I kind of appreciate that for as well. And
Yeah.
I will also say, at the end of the day, some of the songs kind of kick.
I was really surprised because on first run through of this album, I was like, oh wow, this is almost unlistenable. And I think partially because of the pots and pans drumming, they didn't turn his snare on his snare drum, so it just rang really
Yeah, this
resonant.
tinny sound.
And
Yeah.
then also, I don't think any of them ever put on a pair of headphones during the entire mastering process, because I think on speakers, this album sounds pretty alright, and on headphones, you hear every little
Mistake.
problem, and
Good
the
point.
guitars don't sound right, and it literally just sounds like they put 4 instruments and threw them on a track together instead of spending the time professional multi-million-dollar performers to actually get the tracks to the standards
not like they don't
that
have the
people
budget.
were expecting. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they spent long enough in the studio. They spent 2
Years?
whole
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
with a break
Yeah.
in the middle, but they spent
Still.
a long ass time making this album, so it's just sort of did you just not feel like finishing it? But I will, having said all of that, Frantic is probably one of my favorite Metallica songs. It makes me
Interesting.
want to
Sure.
stand up.
Yeah.
I can't just passively sit and listen when that's on. It really
Sure.
connects with something in me. But then even after trying to make the excuse of, oh well, they just didn't mix it well for headphones. Oh well, they just didn't. No, the songs melodically also don't totally stand up and don't connect with me for the most part.
But
Sure.
Taran, it's my world now. Mm-hmm. I will say, the thing is that the more I revisited this album, and I think it's just due to degree of familiarity with it, I still enjoyed parts of it. Honestly, Shoot Me Again, I thought was a pretty solid-ass song on there. And I think, again, even if I don't love some of the musical decisions, I think that at least psychologically and lyrically is a little bit more interesting. So, again, I'm not going to say this is my hidden secret number 1 or anything. I would just push back a little bit because
I hear you. I agree with everything you've said.
I want to throw my nomination out there. And
Go
for
for it.
me, it's pretty obvious. Personally, it's Load. It's Load, y'all. And I think part of the reason is that the thing is that for 2 reasons. One, it is their maybe their longest album straight up outside of Garage Inc. Their longest studio, because
I
it
think
goes
it's
the
78
full
minutes.
79 minutes.
Yeah, something
it
like
did
that.
not need to be for that record because they're changing up their format a little bit. They're going away from because the thing is that when you have And Justice for All, which is a little bit proggy, a little bit out there, you have Metallica, which is a little bit more concise, and here it's just they are a little bit more inspired by Southern rock, but just I do not connect to a majority of this material. Whereas then I could feel on some of the other previous albums when he's going about television preachers, they're trying to get your money, pay more to get those extras. There's a lot of great philosophies. There's a lot of great reading that he's done. It is one of the things where as much as he looks like a Southern biker from hell, James Hetfield sometimes, I wouldn't call him a genius lyricist, but I would say that he's a considered person, and for all the things that Metallica quote-unquote represents, he's a pretty smart guy, all things considered. And I also know Lars is part of that equation too, because Lars is going to tell him no on quite a couple things if he doesn't like it. He's going to Mick Fleetwood it. But so the thing is that Load, there are some solid songs on here, I will say. I like it. I kind of like it when they're breaking out of their things. Like Mama Said isn't my favorite song ever, but them doing a little bit of a country twist, a little bit of twang on there, I'm fine with that. I like Poor Twisted Me. But at the same time, Ain't That Bitch, honestly, when they're talking about the house that Jack built, some of these lyrical themes are just kind of lost on me. I was reading about Until It Sleeps is about when his mom passed away. I'm due to cancer, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And it's one of the things where okay, I didn't really get it, and I didn't really connect with it on that level too. So it's one of those things where Load for me, it's just I would say it's bad because the material just doesn't stack up, and it's too long. For a band that's known for their long songs, when I say these 14 songs are too long, that's not a good sign.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also hear you. Certainly this is in the lower half for me.
Okay.
Because I think that as far as Metallica albums go, it's pretty uninspired. But if you just forget that it's supposed to be Metallica and just listen to it as a mid-90s rock album, I think it's pretty okay.
Serviceable.
I think, like, I actually enjoy Until It Sleeps. Hero of the Day really grew on me over
It's like
these
their
listens.
pop number, that song.
Well, also I listened to the S&M version, which really transformed it.
Yes.
And I really appreciated that. And I think also Outlaw Torn is like...
It's a good closer. It's a good closer.
I just like it when things get swampy.
It's pretty epic.
And it's pretty epic. And the jam at the end is like legitimately like
fun.
Really sort of an all-timer.
There's one thing they know how to do, it's jam.
Yeah.
Man, they know how to
When
do
you
it
let
well.
Kurt go, I mean, and that's part of the reason, like, that's one of the things that I like about another album, Death Magnetic, is that after not have strong presence on Saint Anger, it's like Death Magnetic, the revenge of Kurt. Because it's just clear that he just wants to, like, solo a lot. When you give the man a chance to solo, he's gonna fucking kill it.
Exactly. I would argue, since we're talking about Load now, and Reload, I was thinking about this too. Between Load and Reload, it's 27 tracks. I bet if they had taken like the 12 best between the two and made it like, Load and Reload as one album, I bet it would be higher for me on the list than it is, because there's a lot of deep cuts. The other thing I kind of thought, I was like, if James Hetfield wanted to, he could take Hero of the Day, Mama Said, Low Man's Lyric, and I think like Unforgiven 2, and like become a country star.
Yeah.
Like, he has kind of a little bit of that, like you said, that southern rock kind of vibe. I could see him doing that.
Well, he definitely, on these albums, like, applies twang to his vocal.
Intentionally,
in a way that he has not previously.
And really hasn't done since, to be honest.
Well, him and Cliff Burton were huge Skinner fans.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that that's coming through on the record. But I guess I'm not opposed to Load being down there, but...
Sounds like Taran's opposed to it too, yeah.
Saint Anger can't be
I would
much higher than...
No, I'm with Phil. Saint Anger is what I would put next.
Okay. Well, if it's a simple outvoting thing, as you know how it goes on Chartographers, that's okay. In that case, I think we're okay at number 12, Lulu, number 11, Saint Anger, yes?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, well, in that case...
How long is that?
Is
that an hour?
We're 26 minutes in, so we're basically Junior Dad and Dragon. That's the last two tracks of so in that case, Taran, number 10, what would you throw out there?
Oh, boy. Okay, this is hard, because I have a couple that sort of go next, one of which is Load, but if I am going to talk about my personal listening experience and how much I enjoyed it, coming up next would unfortunately be Garage Inc. And I think that about a third of this record, of the 2.5 hours, 27 tracks, is essential if you're a Metallica fan.
I agree.
I would absolutely agree.
There's absolutely a lot of things on here that are really enjoyable. A couple surprising covers, things that they really transform. But again, we have to circle back to it's 2.5 fucking hours long, and it just doesn't need to be. And when you have, like, what's the 10-minute medley?
Merciful Fate.
Merciful Fate.
Yeah, all those songs, yeah.
Individually, I'm like, yeah, I like these choruses, but you only did the chorus once and then you moved on to the next one. So it sort of doesn't let me connect with the songs they're...
You've always liked Danish black metal, Taran. I've known your whole life. How could you say that?
I had to drag him through the sand to do Whitney Houston. It was so fucking
but like... I think the way they do the vocals on, like, I'm the curse of the Pharaoh, like, and even a couple of the other songs that are in the medley, I'm like, this is sick. This sounds sick. But you aren't letting me dwell on it for long enough before moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, just in general, I think there's there were some things that if they were thinking of it as like an album, I think they maybe would have curated it a little more. But instead, to me, it just sort of seems like
a covers album.
Here's all these covers.
Yeah.
Let's throw them together for our fans, which is fine. It's just that, therefore, not the perfect listening experience.
Well, the first 11 tracks were recorded in '98, and then mostly in '98, and then the other ones are all, like you said, either B-sides or there was a EP, the $5.98 EP that had a couple of those on it. I know, like, Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg are actually Cliff Burton playing the bass, so those are like
old
from way back when. So I agree with you. I think if they had cut it in half, maybe it would have been a lot better. But like you said, there's also Am I Evil, Bread Fan, Stone Cold Crazy. Those are like essential Metallica covers.
Or even I really found myself coming back to The Small Hours.
Yeah. It's
by Holocaust. Yeah.
Although speaking of like a southern, I guess it's not really this, but Loverman. Sorry, doesn't work for them.
Really? That's one of my favorite songs on this goddamn compilation. Oh my god.
No.
I love them. I will full disagree on you on this one here because I think that weirdly enough, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, with these long lyrical fucking passages that they go through, I think it is so musically fascinating how they get there. I mean, it's a 7-minute epic that they go through, but like between that and especially what they do to turn the page, I can really feel like James is kind of embodying this role. I feel like it's just a little bit cosplay, a little bit of, tribute on there. I like it, like their Whiskey in the Jar is like, fine, it's solid, but like, it's really nice to see him kind of lean into those things and try those things in the same environment of it's a covers album and not a Metallica record. And so for me, Loverman absolutely works and Turn the Page, and also on the Diamond Head, It's Electric, this kind of, this like wanting to be, here's how I want to be a rock star, here's what I want to have happen.
I can hear that shit on the radio.
Yeah, it's like catchy, it's immediate, it's impactful. And honestly, even though it goes on for way too fucking long, but honestly, I still dig Tuesday's Gone. I really do. This acoustic jam-along that they do, that, yes, it's 9 minutes, and the last minute is them congratulating each other.
With a lot of guests on it, too.
Yeah.
Jerry Cantrell.
Les Claypool, who once auditioned to be their replacement bassist.
He did.
Yeah.
He did, which would have changed the entire trajectory of that band. But, I'm okay with putting that one lower, too, I guess. I see your point. I would say Bread Fan is probably my favorite one, just because I like the riff and seeing... The thing about Metallica, too, is, like, it's one thing to listen to their studio versions, but then to listen to how they play songs live, it's, like, a completely different experience.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. It's usually a couple clicks faster.
Indeed. And I actually got to see them do Turn the Page live.
Ooh.
Which is very cool because Kirk, for those that haven't heard it, Kirk takes the sax part that's in the Bob Seger version and does it with slide guitar, and it's very, very cool. But yes, that's yes, Evan, that's exactly what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
55 episodes. I sometimes mouth the musical.
And my
Jesus Christ.
And my band has done their version of that.
Oh, really?
Too, so,
oh, that's awesome.
So,
cool.
Anyways,
so what? I mean, we've kind of tossed these things out here. Where do you stand on the number 10 spot? Phil?
Do you have something else you would put there instead of Garage, or would you go for one of these?
Garode.
Yeah, I would say Garage Inc. is fine to put there just because it's such a behemoth and it's like suffers from kind of being bloated and too many songs. So I'm okay with that. Sure.
Okay, in that case, there we go. Number 10, Garage Inc. Well, that means then at that point, Phil, do you have anything for the slot right next to it, number 9?
I mean, it sounds like based on what we've all I think we could all agree with maybe Load or Reload, one of the two. Maybe your choice might be different. But...
Let me just say, part of the reason why I pick Load over Reload is because Reload has some things going for it. It's weird how, I don't know what they were trying to prove with Load. I know a lot of these songs came from roughly the same sessions or so, but Reload almost feels like the album that they wanted to put out in the first place. I just think it's a little bit more accessible. It really leans into its commercialness a little bit more, and also it opens with motherfucking Fuel. Like that, I'm sorry. There's no. It's like it's a pop single to a degree. It's like immediately accessible, but goddamn, that's how you fucking open an album. That's how. I mean, that is why I think when we watched
it's Metallica. That's just straight up
exactly.
Metallica.
That's straight up Metallica.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It definitely Fuel sort of feels like it opens and you're like, oh, this is what Load was missing. Is a song like this.
And
that's exactly why.
You're
that's
like,
exactly why.
and you know, a lot of the times they have like all these kind of B-sides and crap. Where you're like, what are they doing? And then they come out with a song like Fuel, and it's like, oh, there they are.
Yeah.
There they are.
Yeah.
And
You
honestly,
know,
I'm sorry. But like the other singles that they picked off it, I thought were pretty good choices. I dig The Memory Remains. I do. Even
it's a
with its odd Marianne Faithfull part at the end.
The lyrics are bad. I'm sorry.
They are.
I'm sorry. The
They
lyrics
are.
of
I
Memory
won't
Remains
disagree.
mean nothing. What the fuck is a mirror vein? I'm sorry. I just like that. I almost wanted to like Memory Remains, and then
looking vein in the mirror.
every time I possibly.
Yeah.
Well, I think the
Literalist Taran
we'd
O'Reilly
have
with
to
the
see how they
lyrics
spell
over
it.
here. Yeah.
So here's my interpretation of. I agree, and we'll talk all day about Hetfield's lyrics, but "Memory Remains" is cool, and another one to see live because they do the part that she sings. That like whoa,
Right.
They do that live and they extend it out to the point where it's just Lars keeping time and the whole crowd is singing. I mean, when you have like 60,000 people singing that, pretty cool.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
But I think the song is about, and the idea of why they got Marianne Faithfull, I think is her name, is it's a like a kind of like a
Faded rock star.
faded rock star, faded Hollywood starlet kind of thing. I think is the idea. But yes, mirror vein. I don't know what it means.
I feel so dumb now because I hadn't even considered that it could be VAIN. I was always picturing VEIN, and I was like, what are you saying to me? But,
It's alright.
Yeah.
No,
Never mind. Best song they ever did.
no, still not going there.
And Fuel live again is the most amount of pyro you could ever see going off at once.
Oh, yeah.
And the S&M version is pretty great, since you brought up the S&M versions of the other one, where, again, with the slide kind of making it sound like a car shifting gears, and it's like... So yeah, I would say if I had to go which one is better, I would say Reload is better than Load. I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I also really dig Devil's Dance.
Sure.
We're talking about getting swampy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, from the drop.
That just does it
Yeah.
for me. That hits all my buttons.
I mean,
for
also,
sure.
I mean, the thing is that, like, and, like, Where the Wild Things Are is, like, a fine song. Like, it's not, like, offensively bad as, like, Ain't My Bitch or 2x4 is, to a degree. But I will say that, like, even the weird kind of, like, pop leaning of Low Man's lyric, I think, is an odd, but it works for them in a way, in an
You would
interesting
describe
way.
that as pop leaning?
I mean,
To
I
me,
think...
it sounds like a...
Sea shanty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspired by a traditional...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just accessible and outside of the realm of, like, hard thrash to a degree. So I say, when I say pop leaning, it's more of, like, something that, someone could latch onto that way. And honestly, I dig Fixer. I think that the way that they kind of get into this, like, little groove near the end,
Okay.
I mean, I like it when they kind of use the bass textures to kind of create something a little bit more different outside of their usual sound.
Fixer, it's not my favorite. Also, I know he's saying pen, but he says it pen, and every time I hear jam another pen into me, and that I just...
The writer's struggle.
Jam another pen into my mirror vein.
Right, exactly. Also, I really hate the lyrics of Attitude, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Throw all the bullets in the fire and stand there. Oh.
It's bad. I think by that time, if they, like, let's say they recorded it all in order, by that time it's like, dude, we're 26 songs into these sessions. Just get it over with.
Just leave that one off.
Your
Your album doesn't have to be an hour and 15 minutes every time.
Yeah.
You can make 45 minutes.
No, not in Metallica land. Can't do it.
No, they literally can't. They don't have... I don't think they have any albums under an hour.
No.
Ride the Lightning might be close to it.
Maybe.
But,
yeah.
Interesting fact, too, the last song I would have expected to see them play, but I did see them play it, was Carpe Diem Baby.
Wow.
They
broken off the dusty old.
And they wanted to do a deep cut kind of thing. I'll explain more of the context later, but at the end of it, James Hetfield goes, so now you've heard it live, whether you want to or not. They go around. What I love is they know how lame some of their songs are, so they're
They know
willing
fans'
to poke fun
perception
of
of
it.
the material.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely. I noticed while reading a bunch about various songs that there were quite a few that they never did live until like the last decade.
Sure.
When-
Unforgiven 2 is another one that just recently premiered. Yeah. Yep.
Really? They never did that one?
No. I think because the original Unforgiven was so popular.
Was an actual
and-
hit.
Yeah. So.
Well, in that case, how are we feeling about load in our number line spot and then maybe reload at number 8?
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You say hesitantly?
Would there be another one that you would push instead?
Okay.
Well, no, I would put load next for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's
Load.
let's go ahead and do that, and let's just recap. Number 12, Lulu. Number 11, Saint Anger. Number 10, Garage Inc. Number 9, Load. Okay.
Okay, I have something I'm afraid to say.
I think we might be on...
And I'm going to say it anyway,
Okay.
and I hope that fans don't kill me. But up next, I would put And Justice for All.
Wow. That was not the one I thought you were going to say.
That's not the one I thought you were going to say either.
Wow.
I was prepped for a completely different one.
But I'm interested to hear why.
Yeah.
It just doesn't connect with me at all.
Interesting.
And I,
Interesting.
people talk about that the bass is too quiet. I do notice that, but that isn't the problem for me. I just, I do think that, they went through some shit in the mid-'80s that we can get into or not, but I do think that they were still hurting a lot.
Oh, definitely.
While they were recording for And Justice for All. I think even more than Saint Anger, this might be their angriest album.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
I obviously, one is a fantastic song. I think my favorite thing on here is Eye of the Beholder. I love the riffs on this.
Interesting.
And I'm okay with Blackened. And other than that, I actually listened to this album more than any of their like peak 5 because it didn't connect with me and I was trying to figure out why. And there's something about the songwriting here that just doesn't grab me like so much of their other work does.
Fair enough. Again, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I want it known that I disagree, but...
I disagree as well, and I appreciate you bringing it. And the thing is that I would say is that I've had probably the hardest time nailing my opinion on any record than And Justice for All. Because I get the context, and also, like, the thing is, they are not going for anything even remotely commercial here. Not that they really ever were, to a degree, because, like, Master of Puppets, like, yeah, there's songs on there, there's slower moments on there, and one is an absolute single, if you were to, call it that. Like, it's the clear highlight of the album in that sense.
It's in the top 5 signature Metallica songs.
Unquestionably.
For sure.
But the thing is that, like, I run into this frustrating thing where I feel like half the album I'm in it and the other half I'm not. And it's one of those
Fair
things
enough.
where there are parts of it that I respect more than I enjoy, and then there's songs that I just out enjoy. Like, honestly, as much of a pastiche as it is, that super long, built out of the bassline's epic To Live Is To Die, I am such a fan of. I just like the way
Yes.
it kind of bleeds from these
Oh,
light
yeah, no, I
acoustic
did that one
elements.
too.
And then it kind of builds into this kind of like hard rock thing, and it just kind of evolves and it moves.
The eulogy for Cliff. The
Right.
musical eulogy
Right.
for Cliff.
But the thing about it is that it's kind of formless in a way that's not off-putting. It's formless in a way that's just kind of like you're just kind of wading through memories. You're going through all these unfinished works, like you're swimming through.
Sure.
And nothing's definitive. They're not like, this is the Glyph song, we're building a song off it. It's like all these things together. So it's for me, that's the sense that song kind of gives me is kind of the sense I get for the whole album. Even if I'm not really the biggest fan of Harvester of Sorrow, personally, I'm still in that grief to a degree. I'm still kind of wading
Sure.
through that musical emotion. I would say that of the original 5, as I know a lot of fans would sometimes like to put that hard limit on their discography, is one of those things where I still, honestly, even though I've listened to it so much this week, I still don't know my full sense of it, and that might still take time on there. So
Fair enough.
I understand where you're coming from, but I do disagree because there are at least 2 other albums I put there before that.
What I also like I like transitions, and what I like is To Live Is To Die, like you said, it's kind of like this thing where you listen to it and it's like you're just listening to it with your eyes closed. Oh, it's this like ethereal thing, thinking about, they're talking about the friend that died. And then suddenly you get hit in the head with a baseball bat by Dyer's Eve,
Yeah.
which, I don't know, Dyer's Eve is one of my favorite songs, man. I mean, it's just, you talked about how you felt like with Frantic, like you have to stand up, you can't be sitting. That one is like, it's just so blistering, and it's like, and then how it just cuts, like it's the ending just cuts and it's over.
Yeah, you're like, what? What
and
just
what
happened?
was really interesting, I don't know if you guys did this, but I used the playlist you sent me, and for it to like go from being that heavy, fast thrash cutting to suddenly the opening notes of Enter Sandman.
Yeah,
I
went through the exact same thing.
Total shift.
Yeah, it's just like, whoa. And the thing is, you just feel that shit.
Yeah.
It's just such a sharp contrast.
Well, and for those that may not know, this kind of puts some context on that song in particular, but other things too. This comes up time and time again. James Hetfield's parents were Christian Scientists, and so his mother died from cancer because she refused to get treatment, as Christian Scientists do.
Fix you.
Which is why throughout their entire discography, there's a lot of anti-religion, because to him it's like what kept his mother from surviving. So I understand where that comes from. And his dad I don't know if his dad left him or they just didn't have a good relationship. So like when he says, dear mother, dear father, clip my wings before I learn to fly, I'm bleeding, ripping wounds in me that never heal. It's like, good God, man, that's like really emotional for me. But I could see it being lower than some others, but I would have to agree with Evan on this one that there'd be a couple other ones I'd put before.
Yeah.
And I figured.
I appreciate you throwing that out there.
I also you mentioned it briefly, and I do just want to say that while from a pure like pop level, I would prefer Reload. I do have more respect for And Justice for All as an artistic endeavor.
Fair enough. Sure. Yep.
Okay. In that case, I know we mentioned Reload. Would you say that's next, Phil, or would you have another?
I would say that's next, with considering what we have left.
Okay.
Yes, I would say that's next.
Okay, I think we can get there, but I then want to throw out in one other nomination at that point then, if that's okay with the board, with everyone.
So we're locking in Reload at number 8.
We okay with that, everyone?
Yeah.
Excellent, good.
Yeah.
Okay, and now, of course, left we have Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All, Metallica, Death Magnetic, and Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Kind of the classic sounding albums to a degree.
Yeah, in a way, sure.
And for me, my nomination for number 7 is Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And it's such a weird thing to say, but the thing is, I understand how you weren't connecting with Justice for All, because it's also a challenging album, and I think deliberately so. Mm-hmm. I don't connect with almost anything off of Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I don't know if it's the production, I don't know if it's the lyrical content, I don't know what it is, but I listened to this album through so many times. And outside of, like, I'd say Spit Out the Bone as a closer, which is just, it enthralls me to no end. And also, like, Halo on Fire. Overall...
Halo on Fire.
Yeah, like, overall, though, I don't feel the same emotions that I do for any of the other remaining albums, truth be told.
I understand that, and I agree. I think what Hardwired suffers from is the same thing that Load and Reload do, where there's a lot of extra crap that I think if they cut it down or cut the songs down, it's like how many slow-moving like 7 minutes of that kind of thing do we need? I won't say what it is, but this album, when I was thinking of worst Metallica song, this album has that one on there for me. I won't say which one it is until later.
I'm so fascinated.
No, tell me right now. I want to know.
Oh, well, okay, well then, I think that Murder 1 is the worst Metallica song.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Considering that you're going to do a tribute to a metal icon, Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead, and for me it was like, it was the only one when I listened to it the first time. I'm a huge Metallica fan. Metallica's new record in 8 years. I don't count them, but whatever. Yeah. They're basically their new record in 8 years, and by the time I got to Murder 1, I was like, I'm talk about not connecting. I'm like, the ace of spades, the ace of shit is what it is. But and then what's funny is if you skip that one and go into Spit Out the Bone, it's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
It's like how I felt about Fuel. It's like, oh, there they are. Thank you.
I remember that Metallica.
Thank you, God.
Still as smart as that.
Yeah,
So, anyways.
The thing about this album is that I definitely feel like, part of why I like it, for the most part, is the choruses are very poppy.
Sure.
the choruses are catchy.
Yes.
You read the titles and you remember how he sings them because it's usually
to the flame!
It's usually the ending hook of the chorus.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really dig Moth into Flame.
Yes.
I think the riffing is inspired. I think that the lyrics that he was inspired by Amy Winehouse's story to write this one. And I just...
Super cool, yeah.
I think that's really cool. It's sort of... I wouldn't have expected that from him necessarily.
Yeah.
And I just think this is a... sort of similar to what I said about Garage Inc. I think Hardwired to Self-Destruct, if you are a Metallica fan, absolutely you need to listen to it because I think there's a lot of, like, above average Metallica songs on here.
Sure.
But I don't really think... None of these songs on Hardwired are any of my all-time favorite Metallica songs.
Agreed.
There's always something where I'm like, I wish they would have changed that. Like, Confusion, I really dig.
Excuse me. Confusion!
Right. Right. So that's the problem.
Suddenly he's Dave Matthews.
I don't like the chorus on Confusion at all, but I dig the rest of it so much that I like... It's sort of that pull where I'm just like, okay, let's just wait for the chorus to be over so we can get back into the riff.
Right.
And that's a bit of what happens on this album in general. Is I'm like, I really like this 3-minute section of this 8-minute song.
Yes.
And the problem is that there's also 5 other minutes.
Yes.
And so I wouldn't put this one quite yet, but absolutely I understand where you're coming from. There is a certain something that's hard to put into words that isn't quite there.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the problem is that I don't know if I'd put Hardwired here yet, but I definitely would not put Hardwired above And Justice for All for me. Would not be what I would do, and I feel like I could never talk to Metallica fans ever again if I did something like that.
Honestly, for the last 2 minutes, I've just been thinking about Metallica covering Dave Matthews songs. And it's been
I bet.
what you say? But that's just me.
Oh my gosh. The problem is that, you know, I feel like I don't know if there's only one other choice, but because as you said, the first 5, it's like, I don't know, I don't want to give anything away here, but that's got to be, that's in the other tier.
Here's kind of where I'm saying about it. Like, Taran nominated it a bit ago. I'm not willing to put And Justice for All in slot yet, but I have a feeling, given what we've talked about, I'm gonna get there soon. And that basically leaves the only other kind of post-2000, or, you know, the other albums that we have there, Death Magnetic and Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And for me, we're talking about that, it then comes down to the conversation of which one's better, and I'm sorry, Death Magnetic's going to win that battle.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that, too, yeah.
Should we talk about Death Magnetic?
Let's talk about Death Magnetic, baby.
Because Death Magnetic is absolutely a return to form for them.
Yep.
It really,
Getting rid of Bob Rock was a good idea.
And getting Rick Rubin was a good idea.
Yeah.
Hot take police are here. Sorry, they're just coming by to tearing up for his And Justice for All today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. No, I mean, Death Magnetic is, I think, fantastic. I think that it fixes all of the problems. I mean, shit. It's basically like the first great Metallica album in 15 years.
I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna spit out another hot take right now.
Oh boy.
I love Unforgiven 3. I don't know what it is specifically. I think it's also because he had now been taking vocal lessons for like 20 years at this point. It's one of his best vocal takes. Yeah. And it's right in my comfort range singing wise. So it just really it all
sing along with it.
It all really clicked into place for me. Yeah. It's also one of my favorite Kirk solos.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Especially when we're going chronologically, you make it through Saint Anger where they are just absent, and then you get to Death Magnetic, and you're like, oh god, guitar solos.
Kirk's Revenge.
Thank God.
Yeah. Kirk's like, guys, you know all these songs are going to be 7.5 minutes because I'm taking at least 3 guitar solos on each one, right?
Right.
And like for me, even like on this pure song for song basis, not that it's necessarily fair to do that, but like this is an album that starts off good but closes spectacularly because Suicide and Redemption. I love that instrumental so much. And even My Apocalypse, honestly, that slams pretty hard. Yeah. And I love it when they do this kind of like little punchy number right near the end of their record. Sure. It actually has something to say. All Nightmare, like Cyanide may not be like my favorite ever, and I feel like The Day That Never Comes is a bit of a rehash, even more so than doing another Unforgiven song is. But at the same time, I can't really complain because there's still so much energy, and also I just feel like, honestly, there's just kind of a joy of recording in here that was almost entirely absent from Saint Anger, and it's kind of like Metallica by numbers on Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I feel like with this one,
I understand what you're saying.
Like Rick Rubin, he challenged them, like, what were the albums that you were listening to? Like, if you could record this album as a band for the first time, like, he was really trying to do some mental exercises with them to be like, if there are no other bands out there, this is your first record, how would it sound like? He was really trying to get them into that, what were you listening to when you were making these first 3 albums mindset. And I feel like, I'm not sure if every experiment works on here, but overall, for a good entry this far into their career, for something that solid, 25 years in, I'll take it. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm pretty sure it's another. If we want to, I'm sure we'll talk about album sales at some point. But this is another like multi-platinum metal record in 2008.
Yeah.
That's like, unless you're Metallica.
Well, I mean, I didn't buy it though. I got it off Napster. But otherwise, it was
fair
pretty
enough.
solid.
But yes, I totally agree with everything you guys have said. Another thing too that kind of proves that it's a good peak for a later peak rather is they went on one of the biggest tours they had done in forever, like doing like a 2.5 year like 200 show tour, and I mean, it's funny because for me, some of the other albums that have longer songs like Saint Anger or Load, it's like a struggle to get through them. But then on these all are really long songs, but I feel like I'm like in it.
Totally.
You know, and I'm like
totally.
The end of the line is like 8 minutes long, but like it's grooves the entire time.
Yeah.
It doesn't let up. All Nightmare Long, same thing. It's like I would agree with you guys. I love it.
I would say the same thing about Broken Beatons.
Yes, totally. Such a good one. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell, but yes,
yell about it.
Yeah.
But also too, one thing I noticed is that they went back to an old pattern that they used to do in the earlier albums, where they would the fourth track is a ballad with a big guitar solo. The last 2 tracks are a long instrumental leading into a shorter, faster kicker at the end. They throw in a couple of their ballads. They have a groovier song. They do that on Ride the Lightning. They do that on Master of Puppets. They do that on Injustice for All.
Yeah.
They and in fact, we'll get to that later. But I would say my proposal would be putting Hardwired in next
at number 7,
and then putting Death Magnetic above that. But I can also see putting Injustice for All before sandwiched in the middle.
Here's what I recommend we do. Because we're at 58 minutes now, so we're about through, one Metallica album. I would say let's go ahead, if we're all in agreement, put Hardwired at number 7.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And then I'd say, let's take a little break, because we all knew this was going to be a 2-parter episode. We've talked about some things, and I think we can reopen those wounds.
Well, I mean, we've talked about them.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we rank?
If you feel like it, if you want to, only because I know that if we're going to have an Injustice for All this low debate, I don't know. We'll see. Well, I don't know. What do you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like if I hate to put the entire weight of an album on one song, no pun intended, but for me, one keeps this. The track 1 is such a classic song. It's what pushed them out of the underground into the mainstream before, and like that. And I like it a lot better than you guys might have. So
honestly, and I'm not even gonna lie, Phil, you kind of sum things up perfectly. I and you all know, of having heard previous episodes, I'm Mr. Don't base this around the one iconic or good song or whatnot kind of thing. You have to take the whole album into consideration thing. But goddamn, if one isn't just like, I've come back, every time that song comes on, there's just a little nuance, a guitar texture, a little something on there that I appreciate all the more. Seeing it with the music video kind of really drives home the hopelessness of it on there, and just lyrically where it all comes into play, and just the fact he was able to write this perspective as well as he did of just someone trapped in their own body begging for death. It is striking. It is powerful stuff. And so I like Death Magnetic a lot. I like where it's ranking right now, up this high. The fact that it's in this discussion with the other records that we have left. For me, and this is just me, I would put Death Magnetic next, and then I would probably put And Justice for All after that.
That sounds like how the group is leaning, and I am fine with that.
Okay, are you okay with that, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to suggest something else, but I know you're trying to cut us
Oh,
off.
no. Okay, in that case,
if we're gonna suggest something else, let's save it.
yeah, let's
right.
at least
Can we agree on Death Magnetic?
Yes, we
All
can
right.
agree on Death Magnetic.
In that case, let's go ahead and give you a quick summary, everybody. It is number 12, Lulu. It is number 11, Saint Anger. It is number 10, Garage Inc. It is number 9, Load. It is number 8, Reload. It is number 7, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. It is number 6, Death Magnetic. And number 5, in case you didn't know, that's going to be the subject of some debate, everybody. And that's going to be coming up in our part 2 episode that we'll be recording a week after this. So tune in a week after you hear this to hear the next one. But in the meantime, though, before we say goodbye and meet up a week later to discuss these opinions, let me just say, Phil, thank you so much for being here.
Guys, it is an absolute pleasure. Was so excited. I've been so excited for
Years.
4 years since I've been on, but I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So it's great, and I'm ready to see you all next week for part 2.
Absolutely. I hope you safe travels on your way home, Taran, as always. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week as well.
Yeah.
When we record. In the meantime, though, everybody...
I'm just gonna hang out in the attic until then.
Our recording studio does have an attic. And let me just say, everyone, though, I know we had some hot, spicy-ass takes over here, so if you agree or disagree, let us know what yours are. You can either leave a comment...
Send me hate.
Send hate to thechartographers@gmail.com. You'll refire him all together. And then also, just go ahead and feel free to leave a review of your opinion in the podcast. You know, if you put it under 5 stars, that's how you'll get our attention. We'll read that review. If 4 stars, I'm not going to read that. Are you kidding me? I don't care if it's 3 words. But the thing is, do leave us your comments. We love hearing it, because also anytime people post a review, it raises visibility and lets other people know this stupid, wonderful thing that we have going on. But really, truly, thank you so much for listening. Keep on listening, because you know that we'll be. Have a good one, everybody. Good night. Where's your crown?